Hello, welcome back to the Board Games 4K YouTube channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings, and we generally talk a lot of bollocks about tabletop gaming in general. And in this video we're going to be talking about a Viking themed worker placement game called Raiders of the North Sea, and this is a game where you'll be placing a worker on the board, taking an action, taking a worker off the board, taking another action to gain resources in order to execute raids on monasteries, fortresses and outposts in order to get the most victory points to win the game. And in this video we're going to be giving you a very brief overview of the rules. We'll be telling you what we do like, what we don't like, and then we will come back and we will tell you whether or not Raiders of the North Sea is worth your time and effort today. And if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to this channel. Leave a comment in that section down below, and we'll see you after this. Board Games 4K. So, Raiders of the North Sea, how'd you play this game? So in this game you'll be taking one of two actions on your turn. You'll either work or you will raid, and when you work you'll be taking your worker, of which you'll have one at all times. You'll put your worker out onto a space and they will generally give you resources and improve your chances raiding successfully. So some of the actions that you can take on your turn are: you can visit the gatehouse, and this is where you can draw two cards from the townsfolk. You'll take these cards into your hand. You can only have a maximum of 8 cards in your hand any time. So once you've got townsfolk in your hand, then you'll be able to go to the barracks in order to play a card from your hand and put it in front of you and add that to your crew, and you'll pay the cost on the card. That will give you a certain type of military strength, which is in the top right hand corner, and also it will give you a special action which is in the bottom left. Also, if you choose to, you can go to the town hall and discard the card and take the action on the bottom right hand side of the card. Right, so you can also go to the armory where you can give up an iron to gain 2 armor, or you can give up 2 silver to gain 1 armor. And the armor, you'll move your marker up the top of the armor track. That will increase your military strength when you go out raiding. Right, so you can go to the mill. You can either get provisions or gold. You can go to the silversmith where you'll get silver depending on the color of the worker that you'll place out on the board. And you can go to the longhouse where you can trade in livestock for provisions, or you can make an offering to the chieftain, in which case you will look at the offering tiles. You'll pay the cost on the tile, and that will give you a certain amount of victory points at the end of the game. Right, so the second thing that you could do, you can go out raiding, and what you'll do, you'll choose one of the raid spots, and then you'll have to pay the resources or meet the requirements. So you might have to give up a gold, you might have to give up a certain amount of provisions, you might have to have a certain number of crew in front of you. And what you'll do, you'll look at the military strength, and you need to exceed or match the military strength, and then roll the number of dice that's on the board. You'll try and meet or exceed the military strength that's on the board, and you'll get that many victory points. And once you've successfully negotiated the raid, you'll take all the plunder from one of the spaces, and you'll take the associated worker with it, and you'll leave your worker that carried out the raid on that space. Right, so if you've got any Valkyrie tokens in that space when you take the plunder, what you'll have to do, you'll have to kill off one of your crew members, and then you'll move up the Valkyrie track. And so in doing so, any crew members that you kill will get a bit of glory, and you might get victory points at the end of the game depending on how far up the Valkyrie track you are. Right, so you'll keep doing this until one of 3 things happens. You'll either run out of there'll be 1 box of plunder left on the fortresses, which are at the top of the board. You'll run out of townsfolk cards, or you'll run out of chieftain offering cards. And once you've done that, trigger the end of the game will finish their turn, and everybody else will get 1 turn. And then what you'll do, you'll add up all your victory points from the Valkyrie track, from the armory track. You'll trade in gold and iron for 1 victory point and 2 livestock for 1 victory point. You'll look at any victory points that you'll get from your hired crew, and whoever has the most victory points at the end of the game will win Raiders of the North Sea. So what do we like about Raiders of the North Sea? So the first thing that we really like about this game is the fact that you always get 2 actions on your turn, and you'll be placing your worker out on the board, taking the action, and then you'll be taking off another worker off the board. So this keeps the game running really smoothly. Your turns come round very, very quickly, and we like the fact that there's always 2 choices to make. So you're thinking, well, if I do that, then I can do that, and you're always going to get double the benefits on each turn, and we love that. So the second thing that we like about this one is the strategic nature of not only what space you're going to put the worker on, but you've got to think about how you're going to block your opponents from the spaces that you know they want. So it might be in your interest when you've got a white workers to put them out in a space where the other players don't want them to be, because they might be thinking, because you need white workers to raid fortresses, right? The more lucrative fortresses where most of the victory points are. They might be thinking, well, you're looking at you going, well, he's got the white worker that I need, so if he puts it there, then I'm going to take that. But you put it somewhere else that they don't want to go. Are they forced to take it or not? So you're not only thinking about the benefit that you're getting, you've got to think about where your opponents want to go as well, and that is awesome. So the third thing that we really like about this is the size of the box, and it comes in a very, very small box, and it's about time that these sort of games produced with these smaller boxes, because a lot of games these days are just full of air. Space is a premium in this house, so we like the fact that larger games like this, well, it's not a large game at all, but we like the fact that larger games like this are condensed down into small boxes. So what don't we like about Raiders of the North Sea? So the first thing that we don't like about this is the fact that a lot of the raids come down to random die rolls, and it could be the case that you might win the game based on just how lucky you were when you were raiding the fortresses or the outposts or the monasteries, right? So you could have had some sort of a push your luck element on this, where the amount of die that you roll is dependent on what you provide, rather than there being a set number of provisions or gold or whatever. So the fact that the raids could come down, the success of a raid could come down to just the roll of a die. It's lazy and it's no good. It's not there's no place for this in the modern era, right? So the second thing that we don't like about this is that it can get not excessively mathy, but it can get annoyingly mathy when you've got a lot of crew in front of you and you're trying to figure out how much crew strength you got, how much military strength you got, and it's sometimes I found myself losing track of what I actually had, and it might have been better if there'd been a track on the board or on a player mat or something where you could keep track of your military strength as you built your crew up and as things developed for you. So that's it's a minor fault, but it's annoying nonetheless. So another thing that we don't like about this game is the fact that as you're taking resources off the board, the game seems to fall apart, and it feels like the board's full up. It's got an abundance of stuff at the beginning, but as you get into the game, you're taking stuff off the board and it starts to feel a little bit empty and a little bit lackluster. And we found ourselves, as the turns progressed, that where there was nothing much left on the board towards the end, we found ourselves thinking, well, I don't really want to go there. I don't really want to go there either. I don't want to go there. And it just felt like the game was sort of being pulled apart very slowly, and it just like sand between your fingers. It just fell away and the game became just a bit of a slog towards the end, So the next thing we didn't like about this is the fact that at the beginning of the game it's a very, very slow start, so there's not much options at the beginning. So you've got the choice of taking just 3 things at the beginning, and also there's not enough competition for places with lower player count, so I can't imagine playing this with 2 players, and with 3 there was maybe a bit too much space, and 4 there's probably the right amount of competition for spaces in the 4-player game, but it just felt a little bit like weak in that regard. So to summarise, is Raiders of the North Sea worth your time and money today? So we're going to say probably not. There's just not enough here to warrant maybe, like, I think this is like 40 quid, isn't it? Something like that. There's just not enough here. It's almost like it tries to be Lords of Waterdeep. It's got the same sort of feel as Lords of Waterdeep, where you're putting workers out on the board and taking an action associated with that space. But obviously this one's got the added bonus of taking a worker off, right? So it tries to be Lords of Waterdeep, and it sort of nestles itself between games like Lords of Waterdeep and 8-Minute Empire. And it turns out that you suppose you could really call this 80-Minute Empire, because it's very, very basic, and there's just not enough strategy in here, or interesting decisions to be made with regards to out of game play. So you're just placing workers on a board. There's no quests to go on. It's just the raids don't really seem like you're actually doing anything. You're just choosing where to go and trying to match the resources that the game tells you that you need, and it just felt a bit lackluster, to be honest. So we're going to give this maybe 3 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5 a push. The art was good, we enjoyed the game, sort of, but like we said, it just lacks something. It's almost like it needs an expansion, and there's 2 expansions for this. So maybe the game was designed with the expansions in mind, and this is just sort of a half-baked sort of offering that they're going to give you, and you need to play it with the 2 expansions, the Hall of Heroes and the other one, I can't remember what it's called. So maybe the game needs to be played with the expansions. So as it stands, the core game is a bit underpowered. So yeah, so we're going to give this 3 out of 5. It's probably not worth your effort. I'd rather play Lords of Waterdeep by far. I'd rather play that. It's in an infinitely better game. So that's how we feel about it. So yeah, that's Raiders of the North Sea. Remember, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to our channel. Leave a comment in that section down below, and we'll see you next time.